Thinking and acting like a business owner is really about making decisions and about letting go of the traditional trappings of bureaucracy that accompany corporations. And that means we're not going to tell you absolutely everything that you should do. We're going to think that you know how to do some of those things yourself, and you can make your own decisions. It's very transforming for people when they say, hey, how much could I spend on lunch? Like, I'm taking a client out to lunch. Where should I go? How much should I spend? What should I do for parking? And we're like, you decide that. Make that decision. Think like a business owner. Where would a business owner take this client at this time to lunch? Oh, who needs to approve that? No one. You do. Those like little examples are part of how the mentality shift for employees coming from other places changes the way they think about living and working here. It's awesome when you see it and people think like, oh, this is for real. You do really want me to think like an owner. Yeah, we do. When our founders started, that's what they wanted. They wanted professionals who could think and act like business owners. As PointB grew and got bigger, and they started thinking about what's going to happen if something happens to one of us, and what does the future look like for PointB? I think their goal was to really think about how do we preserve the wonderful thing that we created. And one of the best ways was to give it to the people who know the most about that. And so this idea of employee ownership came into conversation, was talked about for quite a while, and then we made our first purchase. So we purchased about 20% of PointB from the founders in 2008. We put that into a trust. And the trust owns that 20%, and then it distributes shares to owners of that trust. At PointB, you can become an employee owner a year after you join. So that first year, you're sort of on your road to ownership, and you learn a lot about it, and you learn about our value of ownership, and then you become an owner after you've been at PointB for a year and worked 1,000 hours in that year. And so once a year, what happens is as we close out our books, we make a contribution to the ESOP trust, which then puts shares into everybody's ESOP account. They're just distributions based on how much you worked that year and how much money we made. So they go into your account, and then once a year, another process happens, which is we have a third party come and determine the value of PointB, and that sets the stock price. So you can watch your stock and your stock grow every year, and then the stock price change once a year as well. So the thing about ESOPs and employee ownership is they're designed to be long-term wealth mechanisms. So and they're designed to encourage you to stay in some ways, because as the firm grows and as your ESOP shares grow and the stock price grows, you have this long-term wealth that's growing in your name. People kind of think about it like a 401k, except 401ks are things that you contribute to. And in this case, your contribution is the work that you do. More recently, we purchased the remaining 80%. So we are now 100% of PointB is owned by its employees.